Hi guys, Christina here. Today on It Is a Keeper, I'm showing you how to make steak fajita bowls. I want to thank Certified Angus Beef brand in conjunction with Sunday Supper LLC for sponsoring this video. They asked me to create a video showing you one of my favorite spring grilling recipes using Certified Angus Beef. Make sure you check them out in the video description below. These steak fajita bowls are one of my family's favorite recipes. They taste just like restaurant-style fajitas, but are easy enough to make at home. Every layer of this recipe is bursting with flavor. There's tender marinated strip steak and seasoned peppers and onions piled high on top of cilantro lime rice and topped with all of your favorite fajita fixings. You're not going to want to miss this. Make sure you subscribe to my channel below so you don't miss a single recipe. So let's start making this deliciousness. So the first thing we need to do to start our steak fajitas is we need to make the marinade so our steak can get marinating. And this is such a flavorful marinade. It starts with lime juice. So in this bowl here, I have almost 1/3 cup of lime juice. So I'm just going to squeeze the last portion of this lime in. You really want to use fresh lime juice for this recipe. It tastes so much better. The lime juice is really going to add so much flavor to our steak, and it's going to help tenderize it a little bit. So I'm going to add this lime juice to the bowl of a mini food processor. Okay, I'm also going to add some water. This food processor is such a great tool for mixing up smaller batches of things. I love it, love it, love it. So we're also going to add some Worcestershire sauce and some olive oil. And for a little more of that deep flavor, we're going to add some soy sauce. You can see how we're just building layer upon layer of flavor. Now here I have 4 garlic cloves that I've roughly chopped. You don't need to do it too fine because the food processor is going to do a lot of the work. So we'll just get those in there. And then we're going to start adding our seasonings. So I have some cumin here. I'm going to put that in. And we have some chili powder. It doesn't add too much heat, just adds a really nice kick. And we have a little bit of salt and some ground black pepper. So you can see how much flavor is really packed in there. All right, I'll put that lid on, get it in place. I'm just going to pulse this until the garlic is really broken down. All right, that is looking perfect. So now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna slide my food processor aside and I'm going to bring in a zip top bag. Now, this is where we're going to do our marinating, right in this bag so that we can throw it away when we're all done. So I'm just going to take our marinade and transfer it from the food processor into the bag. So next we're going to add our steak. I have a Certified Angus Beef strip steak, and you can tell it's Certified Angus Beef by the little photo that's on the package of beef. And it'll say right on there, Certified Angus Beef, and it shows a picture of a black Angus cow there in shadow. That's, you know, you're getting good quality steak that has been certified. So I'm just going to take our strip steak. This is a strip steak. You could do this with any type of steak that you prefer. I really love how decadent the strip steak is in this recipe. So we're just going to take that in, and we have about enough marinade to do 4 steaks. So right now I'm just going to put 1 in here, and don't you love this little contraption? I will put a link on where to get this in the video description below. So once you have your steaks in, you just seal up your bag, squish out any of that extra air, and then just make sure everything's covered, and we're going to let this hang out in the refrigerator for at least 2 hours, but up to 8 hours. So you can just let it go, make the marinade in the morning, put your steaks in, and it'll be ready to go when you get home for dinner. So I'm gonna let this hang out. In the meantime, we're going to work on the peppers and onions for our steak fajitas. Okay, so our steak is marinating in the refrigerator. While that's going on, I'm going to get started on the peppers and onions. So the first thing we need to do is get everything sliced up. So I have 2 yellow onions here. I'm just going to get these onions peeled so we can slice them up. And you just need to cut them in half. These are going to cook down quite a bit, and this is enough peppers and onions to do 4 steak fajita bowls. I'm just going to cut these into thin rings. Now the onions will take longer to cook than the peppers, so you may want to cut those first and get those going in your pan, and then get started on your peppers while the onions start cooking down. All right, we got our onions done. Now let's move on to the peppers. You can use any color of peppers or any type of peppers really that you like. I chose a red and a green bell pepper. Now, what I like to do with this, I like to cut the peppers into nice little strips here. All right, and we'll just continue cutting this green pepper up. Now, make sure you check out my tutorial on the right way to chop bell peppers. My good friend Chef Patrick walks you through step by step how to chop bell peppers like a professional chef. I'll put the link to that up above, so make sure you check that out. Now I chose red and green because I love the color and I really wanted to make this fajita bowl nice and colorful. But like I said, you could choose any color or any type of peppers. Jalapenos would be nice, poblanos would be great in this. There we go. These are beautiful. I just love the smell of bell peppers as they're being cut. So the next thing we're gonna do are get these into the pan and start them cooking. Okay, so now we need to get started cooking our peppers and onions. I have a cast iron pan here. I find that peppers and onions cook the best, I really love them, when they're done in a cast iron pan. Feel free to use any kind of pan that you'd like, but you really get nice color and flavor out of the cast iron. So I'm just going to add some butter. I've had this pan preheating and you can see it is nice and hot. I'm also going to add a little bit of olive oil. We're going to start with our onions. We want to get those going first. So I'm going to get all of those into our pan. The onions will take longer to cook than the peppers, so it helps to get a jump start on those. So you want to get these in a nice even layer. Ooh, you can see they're already starting to pick up some nice color. You can start to see they are starting to brown a little bit. This is exactly what we're looking for, that caramelization as the natural sugars come out of the onion. Once you start getting some browning on your onions, you can add a little bit of water to the pan. So what the water is doing is it's creating a steamy environment as given off, you can see the steam coming up from the pan, and it's gonna help soften our onions and help them just cook just a little bit faster and get nice and tender. So it's just helping our process along. So we're gonna let these go for about 10 minutes before we add our bell peppers. Okay, so our onions are browning nicely. You can see that they're really starting to pick up some nice color, but they're not quite done yet, and that's okay, because now we're going to add the peppers to the mixture. So I'm gonna add a little bit more butter to this pan, just to give our peppers something to cook in. We'll add all of our bell pepper strips right in there. Just get it into a single layer and let those start cooking down. But we're also going to add to our pepper and onion mixture some fajita seasoning. And this is my homemade fajita seasoning. You can get the recipe on my website. I will put a link in the video description below. I'm gonna use about 2 teaspoons of it. You can use more or less depending on what you like. It adds great flavor to these peppers and onions, and it helps create that nice sauce that you get when you get your sizzling plate of fajitas at the restaurant. You notice that the peppers and onions come out and it's kind of like a little bit of a thicker sauce that they're in. That's what this seasoning does. I'm just gonna let these hang out and do their thing, and we'll check back in on them in a couple minutes. Oh, look, we're getting some nice color on these peppers. Look at that. Oh, perfect. That's cast iron for you. But we're at the last moments here. One thing you want to check is see if it looks like it has enough seasoning. You might even want to take one out, cool it down, and try it, see if you like it seasoned. I'm just looking at this. I think I'm going to add another teaspoon of the fajita seasoning. I'm also going to add a little bit of water just to create that sauce. Just a little bit. That's maybe a tablespoon or so. Oh, look at that glorious sauce it's making. Yeah. All right, I am going to turn this off and set it aside. while we get our steak ready for our fajita bowls. So here I have our marinated steaks in our bag. They've been in the freezer. They've been in the refrigerator for about 2 hours. Now, strip steak is so tender, it really does not need a long marinating time, which is why this cut is so perfect for this recipe. I'm going to take it out, I'm going to cook it on the grill, and then we'll come right back here and I will show you how to plate this up. All right, our steak is grilled and I've let it rest for a few minutes. That is super important. You want those juices that have accumulated in that strip steak to stay in there and not just run all over your board when you cut into it. So we're going to give this a little slice, and I like to cut it on an angle into strips. Now you can do it whatever doneness you like. Oh, it's just so tender. Just slicing right through that. Beautiful. All right. And I'm gonna slide this to the side here. And we're going to start building our fajita bowl. So in this bowl, I have cilantro lime rice. And let me tell you, this smells so good, so fragrant. So we have that. We are going to start by piling on our toppings. So we have our peppers and onions. Just gonna grab those tongs and get a nice helping of those. And oh my gosh, they look and smell incredible. All right, and then we're going to add our steak to the bowl. And let me just get a nice helping of that on there. Oh, this smells great too. I can smell the garlic and the seasonings from that marinade. Absolutely incredible. Couple other things, you can put, at this point, any of your favorite fixins on there. So whatever you like on your fajitas. I'm going to add some avocado. So I have a nice, this is beautifully ripe avocado. Just look at that, yum. So I'm gonna get that out of the shell. I'm gonna do it in slices because I think it'll go nice with the peppers and it just jumped right out of the shell. Cut them. All right, we have the avocado in there. Oops, one piece in the back of the knife. I'm also going to add some of my black bean and corn salsa. You can get this recipe on my website. So I'm just gonna put a nice little dollop of that here. Oh yeah, it's jumping right out there. We are almost done. Just look at this. Oh, look at this. Oh, so yummy. I'm gonna add a couple more things. I'm going to add a lime wedge. That all over the top, just really enforcing that lime flavor. And I'm gonna add a little bit of fresh cilantro. A couple cilantro leaves on top. Okay. One more thing, just because I really want a flavor explosion. Cilantro lime dressing. This is a homemade recipe. You can get this on my website. I'll put the link in the video description below. You can drizzle that right over the top and it really kicks up that flavor. I absolutely love this stuff. So there you have it, an extremely flavorful steak fajita bowl. You guys, this has so much flavor. I can't wait to dig in. Thanks for watching. You can get the full printable recipe in the video description below. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss a single thing. And check out the rest of my videos where you can find more of my favorite easy recipes and quick tips. I'll see you next time. Bye.